Thank you. So the first activity which we intend to be hosting is the Unveiling Skohi or Famsa project, which we are doing currently at the moment. We are intending to share with you what we have, what we have for you in this tenure. And then next, we are going to be focusing on setting up local teams, and then we introduce Skohi to as many MSAs as we can. We believe local officers are very important to the works of Skohi, and they are the ones that would carry the activities of Skohi from the central committee down to the MSAs. So we are focusing on organizing our local teams at the moment, and we should be done by that by the end of this month. And then we'll also organize introducing Skohi to MSAs so that we can reach to the MSAs who do not have who have not heard of Skohi before, or who have heard of it but are not very clear with what Skohi does. So we'll be telling MSAs about what Skohi does and what we have in store for them this year. Next slide. So we would also be engaged in commemorating important health days, which is this a continuous activity which we intend to be doing once in a month. We are going to be looking ahead of the months that we have, and then we are going to look at the important health days that are there in the month, and then we are going to conduct an need assessment and see which of these days are very important to the context of Africa. Then we are going to select one of those and then commemorate it in the best way we can. We are going to be hosting webinars, social media campaigns, community outreaches, trainings, and so much amazing activities, which we are going to be doing that. We are going to start that. We started that in the month of March, which we commemorated World Kidney Day. I believe some of you have seen our posters flying around. And then we are going to continue to do that once in a month throughout this tenure. Next activity we are going to be focusing on is the World Health Day, which we are going to be doing it in partnership with Asian Medical Student Association as well as the European Medical Student Association to commemorate World Health Day on the 7th of April. This is more of the Famsa activity, which Skohi has role to play in it. Next. Yeah, because we understand how much the importance of climate action is, we intend to engage in an activity advocacy project, which we are going to focus on drafting a policy on climate change in the context of Africa. And then after we do that, we intend to present it to related stakeholders and then call them to action. These stakeholders we intend to be targeting are the MSAs, NMOs, that's national medical organizations, and other stakeholders. We are going to be we are going to be doing that in relationship with the Famsa Policy Advisory Board, and then we are also going to tap into the experience and knowledge of other Famsa members who are not even part of the Skohi program. So please, you can watch out for call for policy makers. Next, we are going to be dealing with we are going to be working on World School Environment Day, and this activity is going to come on the World Environment Day, because we believe, since our name is Standing Committee on Health and Environment, we believe this is our day. And we are going to be conducting community outreach to raise awareness about the importance of environmental hygiene, because you cannot separate health and environment. So we are going to be doing that on World Environment Day, which is June 5. We are going to take our time from April down to June to see that we organize something that is very meaningful and very impactful. We are going to work with all Famsa members who are in touch with Skohi. All right, please, next slide. Thank you. So our activity which we are going to be doing around July is breastfeeding the right way. Famsa have put a lot of effort to raise awareness about the importance of breastfeeding, and we want to assume that Africans have had our calls that the importance of breastfeeding, and now how do you breastfeed the right way? So we believe this is a gap to cover, and we are taking the responsibility of doing that. We intend to carry out a physical project to reiterate on the importance of breastfeeding and then demonstrate in the best way we can how you do this, how you do breastfeeding. and then we intend to target the general public. Next is that we intend to have a project called Public Health Camp, which is a training session which we are going to award certificates at the end of it for participants who actively engaged in, which we are going to train more medical students that are around Africa on the essentials of public health, starting from what public health is all about, the components of public health, to down into how to coordinate, organize meaningful projects that are aligned to African Union Agenda 2063 and the SDGs. We are also targeting all Famsa members. So next slide, please. Yep. So we are also going to engage in a very important activity we want to call rollback anti-malaria resistance. You will believe with me when I say that there is instances of anti-malaria drugs not working. So we intend to carry out a research project. We intend to create an innovation way that we think could reverse anti-malaria resistance in Africa. And then so we would innovate the idea and then conduct a research around it to see how effective is it going to be. After having our findings of the research, then on World Antimicrobial Awareness Week of 2023, we are going to hold a series of events, one of which is we are going to present our research to the general public, which is timed to be around November 24, which is the World Antimicrobial Awareness Week. And then we are also going to focus on building the capacity of SCOHI members, and not only just SCOHI members, also the Famsa members who are very active in the activities of SCOHI. We are going to engage them in our capacity building so that they take up responsibilities from next year. I will share with you links to join our SCOHI community, which is a channel where we engage directly with medical students from around Africa who are interested in our works, so that you can stay updated on the activities we are doing and so that you can take up opportunities that are there. Also, I will share with you link to vacant places that are in SCOHI. You can apply to be part of SCOHI in this. Thank you.
Mr. Jaffa, are you done with the presentation? I just want to confirm.
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So please, I believe most of the questions have been answered, but let me just see. Someone asked how do we join the standing committees? And I think Mr. Jaffa has shared a link to join the community, right? And someone asked, please, will the slides be made available after the meeting? Mr. Banshrachi, could you respond to this?
Pardon the question?
Someone asked whether the slides will be made available after the meeting.
But I think the first question was where one can access the recording, and I think I've shared the email contact. The slides, we understand slides will be also made available, provided you email us over the email I've sent in the chat. Because we cannot send it out all over. It is not possible to send it out all over the WhatsApp chat. So we use the emailing list. So in case you're not among the mailing list, please type your email in the chat so that you can find it. We can add it so that and you receive
All right. So okay, thank you. So I believe we've asked that question. I think you can join the Famsa's mailing list and hopefully you get the slides. Mr. Jaffa, someone asked a question for the physical meetings. How does it go on, please? For example, if it's in another country. So, Mr. Jaffa, can you kindly answer that question?
Well, I think we do not have a physical meeting per se, but then we have various physical activities, and then how we are going to be doing that is through our local officers. If there is a local officer of SCOHI in your medical student association, then definitely SCOHI is going to host a physical activity within your locality. I hope I answered that question very well.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, there's one more question I see here. Can a person who is already part of the RC be part of SCOHI? So, Mr. Jaffa, could you answer that question?
Well, from the Famsa from the Famsa working structure, it does not restrict that. But then to be very realistic, and because we really need effectiveness in the position someone wants to apply, we would prefer someone to take care of only one position per tenure. Yeah, that is my advice.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. So I believe that question was answered for that person. Moving on to the SCOMA chair. That's Mr. Sefiu additional Usman. So, Mr. Usman, if you're on this call, kindly present. Or if you have not yet a panelist, you can raise your hand so that you can be made a panelist. Okay, so it seems that Mr. Usman is not on this call. So I believe we'll be moving to the scope up chair. Sorry. That's Fatimata Saju of University of Gambia Medical Students Association. So, Mr. Saju, you can present. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. VP. So, hello, everyone. Like I said, I'm currently serving as the scope of chairperson under Famsa, and I would be taking you through my year plan right now. So basically, Famsa scope of stands for the Standing Committee on Publications, and just like the name implies, our entire role as a standing committee revolves around publications and projecting the image of Famsa to the best of our abilities. Notwithstanding, we definitely have activities that we engage in at scope up level, and do join me as I take you through those for the tenure. Thank you. Next, please. Yes, so one of the first things that we did at scope up level was definitely trying to set up a team and going ahead with orientations, which is very, very vital in terms of successful handing overs. So that has actually been achieved, and expansion of scope up membership is something that has proven to be a bit challenging, and we're still working on that because we have quite a number of universities who still do not have MSA officers on the scope up. So like I said, that reaching out to MSAs to have scope up set up in their institutions with guidance from the chairperson through the process. So this sounds like it's going to be a long-term something, because I mean, we still have very, very limited universities represented as far as scope up is concerned. So we would keep working on that. Next, please. Yes, so coming to the newsletter. So as you might be aware, one of the most important things that Scope is engaged with is making sure that the FAMSA newsletters are there for publication 3 times a year. So FAMSA basically has 3 main newsletters. That is the April newsletter, the July newsletter, and November newsletter. So we are currently working on the April newsletter. And the descriptions here are some of the topics that will be featured in the newsletter. So even though we have article writers that are working on these topics, we were also able to open a call for general FAMSA members to also have their work showcased, to make sure that the general members are also captured in the newsletters of FAMSA, rather than limiting it to the central committee only. So the
would actually be ending today. Today is the deadline, and I'm glad that we actually did get very good responses from general Famsa members in terms of both articles and in poems, which has been very impressive. So the April newsletter is definitely in progress. So coming to the capacity building would be restricted to the MSA officers and the central committee.
Hello, Ms. Sajo, we can't hear you. Hello. So it seems she has network issues. Maybe we could wait for a minute.
Yeah, so sorry, my network is giving me issues, but I'm back. So the capacity building, like I said, would be limited to the central committee members and the MSA officers, because like I said, we kind of tend to deal with flyers a whole lot and literally anything that has to revolve around writing, because as a standing committee, we have this responsibility to be designing our own flyers, but we also have a responsibility to the rest of Famsa, and those having MSA officers who would also be having publications here and there as part of their activities. This capacity building is meant to make sure that everyone is at least level-headed with the basics of designing flyers, as well as how to go ahead with report writing. So as much as we are trying to build the capacities of these people, is a way of also giving back to those that are giving their all for Scope Up to keep on moving on. Next, please. So somewhere in July, we are expecting to go into the journey into publishing. So this would actually be the second edition. The first was definitely done by my predecessor last year. And this is supposed to be like one of the main events or activities of Scope Up. So in July, what we'd be having mainly is posters for the call, that is for small working groups and also coordinators, selection of members, etc. So the implementation of the journey into publishing itself is going to be somewhere in August. And this, the journey into publishing is something that is facilitated or is implemented at the main Scope Up level. But at the end of the day, MSAs also tend to implement it at their own local levels respectively. So usually the MSA officers tend to spearhead this. And at the end of the day, we have a whole big event that is done at general Famsa level, but also at MSA level. So again, it's a way to make sure that the MSAs are inclusive and at the core of what we're actually doing. So the newsletter is released, just as it highlights here, would be done in April, in July, and in November, respectively. Next, please. So like I said, the journey into publishing project launch and implementation would be done somewhere in August, but definitely in July, there would be a project concept note for everyone to see, collaborations and consultations with people, because the main thing here is that this is something that has been done already, would be done again. So the aim is to make it bigger and better, obviously. And obviously call for participants and submissions too. We would definitely want to have MSAs projected into this whole project as much as possible. So last time there was nothing like a Twitter space or anything. It was more of Scoop Up collaborating with SCOMA to sort of put this into realization. But this time we definitely want to take a different tone. And since it's journey into publishing could be related to so many different things. So all we have in plan is to make sure that general Famsa members are part of this and are able to showcase themselves as much as possible. But like I said, a project concept note would be made and everything would be made clear on how we can collectively work on this. Next, please. So the MSA expedition is another activity that is entirely intended to showcase the medical student associations to the rest of the world. So it's an opportunity for MSA officers to actually showcase their respective institutions. So each MSA officer would be submitting facts and infographics about their school in a creative and easy to comprehend format. So it's like when we are supposed to celebrate, let's say maybe University of Ibadan for a certain day, we get to post pictures about that particular university, facts about that particular university, and then it will be on the social media platforms. Your students could actually interact there, like these posts that have been done, make comments. And like I said, the fact that some facts would be written, it actually could be a gateway for others to know about this university and even make decisions on whether they would love to be part of this university sometime later. So coming on to the JAMS release, JAMS is actually a Journal of African Medical Students. So it's purely made for medical students around Africa. And they are doing a really great work in terms of publication. So we will definitely have to partner with them at some point in making sure that journey into publishing has some amazing highlights. And of course, to round up the entire tenure would be the November newsletter, which usually tends to highlight everything that Famsa has been engaged in the last quarter, with one of the most important being the Famsa GA. There will definitely be reports over what we have done as a standing committee. The Famsa GA, like I said, would be really highlighted, and this year's GA would actually be in the Gambia. So I look forward to seeing all of you amazing people in my country. And last but not the least, handing over. So this is what we would be having for you, and we hope to thread this path with you all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Sajo, for that presentation. So please, if you have a question regarding what she has just presented, perhaps you want to get involved, if you want to be a local officer for your MSA, or you want to just get involved in any program, you can ask your question right now so that she can answer the question. So you can just use the question and answer function to ask your question. Okay, it seems there are no questions, so I hope everyone gets involved in the activities for this area. We'll be moving to the presentation of the school match here. Who has joined who has just joined the meeting right now, as I see. So that's the person of Sefiu Usman. So I hope you can present now, Mr. Sefiu.
All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you all. My name is Sefiu Usman from Olabisi Onabanjo University Medical Students Association. I'm the chairperson for Standing Committee on Medical Education and Research. Standing Committee on Medical Education and Research is concerned with coordinating and guiding the work of Famsa in the field of medical education and research, including furnishing member associations with Famsa regulations and guidelines for medical education and research. Next slide, please. All right, so this is our work plan for the year, for the tenure 2023. So we've done officers training, which is to train the appointed officers so as to function effectively in their position. And we also plan to have a medical cases, discussions, questions and answer, which is medical scenarios, to enhance academic knowledge, and it will be starting on the 25th of March throughout the tenure. We will be doing it throughout the tenure, or weekly. And also, we will also be having a monthly webinar on important topics in medical education and research. The monthly webinar will be done monthly, and it will be open to all Famsa members. Next slide. Okay, next time. Okay. And also, we plan to have a physical training on first aid and emergency care. First aid and emergency care to be done in each MSA to equip medical students with the capacity required to function effectively during potential hazard. So the preparation for the first aid training and emergency care will be done on March 1st, March 30th of March. But there will be a general for physical training on first aid and emergency care where students in Africa will be able to join through virtually or be present physically in any location that will pick to have the program. And also research training in partnership with notable organizations like Elsevier Research Academy. I know we all know about Elsevier and Avicenna Health Institute in United States, the International Journal of Medical Students, Global Health Champions, and others to boost participation of medical students in research. And the research training will commence April 1st till April 30th. And this is also open to all Famsa members who can join. They can participate in the research training. Next slide. So partnership with medical education platforms is one of our major concerns that we want to make medical education platform accessible to all medical students in Africa. So we are going to go about the partnership by subsidizing the prices of subscription for medical students in Africa. So we're going to partner with medical education platforms, also like Lecturo. We already have a partnership with Lecturo. We're going to partner with Osmosis, Ambos, and Picmonic and the rest to reduce the subscription fee for medical students in Africa. So the medical education platform will be accessible to all medical students in Africa. So we plan to start this partnership project on next month, which is April. And also research grants, getting funding for student researchers will also commence April. We'll start that in April. And research projects per MSA. Each MSA will be given a research, each MSA will propose a research topic and it will be approved. And each MSA are going to have their own research project to be carried out. So they will approve and submit at least a research project per MSA, which each local officer will work on. Also, we are going to have a medical education capacity building boot camp. This medical education capacity building boot camp is just to equip medical students with the knowledge required to excel as a future doctor and as a complete doctor. So this medical education capacity building boot camp is going to be in the month of June, and it will also be open to all Famsa members. And this medical education boot camp, capacity building boot camp, will also be done virtually. And for medical education and research conference, we had the maiden edition last year, and we're going to repeat that. So the medical education and research conference will be open to medical students. Medical students will learn about involvement and innovations in medical education. And this will be done in July, and it is open to all Famsa members. All Famsa members can participate in the medical education and research conference, and also the medical education capacity building boot camp. And also there will be innovation training series, which is to train students on innovation and design thinking. And this will be in the month of August. And it's also open to all Famsa members. Next slide, please. All right, so regarding the medical e-library, we plan to set up an e-library that will be accessible to medical students in Africa. And what we plan to do is to upload necessary materials like create a question bank where medical students in Africa can access the question bank at any time. The question bank will not only be questions from a particular MSA or particular medical school, but it will be cut across all the medical schools registered in Famsa in Africa. So we're going to get questions, like past questions from them, and create a question bank that will be included in the medical e-library. Then as well, we're going to be providing links to download. We're going to be providing links to download textbooks. Now, the reason why we are going to be providing links in the Google Drive in the medical e-library to download the textbooks online is because we noticed that if you actually upload the textbook on our e-library, we might have copyright issues. But that's why I provide a solution that instead of uploading the textbook in the e-library, we would rather provide links that can refer people to the appropriate site to download the textbook. So apart from that, we also be having our own customized SCOMA past question. Like I said, the question bank will be there that can be accessible to each and everyone, each medical student in Africa. Then other materials as well, links to download other materials too will be included. So once you just click on the textbook, it will refer you back to the site to download the appropriate textbooks. And also in the medical e-library, there will be experts that are going to review textbooks that people have used in the past, and they're going to grade the textbook like this. Because I noticed that so many people have problems with, maybe they are moving on, they are transitioning from preclinical to pathology and pharmacology class. They might have issues with which textbook is the best. So we are going to set up a committee that they are going to review each textbook, and they're going to get recommendations from other people as well. They're going to get a list of the most recommended textbooks. So you'll be getting recommendation of textbooks to use from SCOMA. Then entire essay quiz competition, debate, and spelling bee. Okay, so entire essay quiz competition, debate, and spelling bee to broaden knowledge and encourage team work, and it will be done in September. Then hackathon as well, call for submission of innovation, selection of top ideas for pitching and participation in the hackathon. Next slide. So in the month of October, there will be breast cancer awareness to educate public on the accurate details surrounding breast cancer, drug abuse awareness program to create awareness about the impact of drug abuse in the health. A small working group or a committee will be set up for this drug abuse awareness program so that it can be conducted in each NSA across Africa. The medical scenario to engage medical students in practicing theoretical knowledge and make informed decision, and it is going to be done weekly. Next slide. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Usman. I believe the questions. Okay, I believe there are some questions. Firstly, someone asked, for SCOMA inter-MSc competitions, will the spelling bee be based on medical words or English words? So, Mr. Usman.
All right, the spelling bees will be based on medical terms.
All right, thank you. So I believe that question has been answered. Okay, someone asked the question, please where would the links for each committee be posted? Actually, there are each committee has its own. Some committees have different committees, communities. For SCOMA has its own community. SCOHE also has one. But I would advise you to also join Famsa's mailing list so that you can get updated on the activities of each committee, right? So that's what I would advise you to do. Just visit famsanet.org and then subscribe to Famsa's mailing list there. So please, do you have any other question? Any other question? All right. Okay, I don't think there is. Okay, I don't think there's any other questions. So, all right. So I think I'll be handing over to my co-moderator, Miss Patience Akampura, the General Secretary for this tenure. So, Miss Patience, I believe you can take over now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Femilawal, for taking us through the first half of the presentations. Yeah, thank you all who have presented. As earlier mentioned, I'm Patience Akampura, the General Secretary Famsa for this tenure and the co-moderator for this session. So I will be taking you through the presentations from our regional council chairs and our vice president. Yes, so without further ado, let's have the presentation from Ms. Chidosunga, who is our regional coordinator, South Africa. Ms. Chidosunga, you can go on and present.
Okay, thank you, Miss Patience, for that. My name is Chidosunga. I hope I'm audible. My name is Chidosunga, and I am the regional coordinator for the Southern Africa region. And the regional council basically translates the works and promotes the aims of Famsa that have been listed and many more that have been discussed during this meeting in the Southern Africa region. So I think we can go on to what we intend to do as the Southern Africa Regional Council. And on the first thing on our calendar is the orientation of officials. We opened up calls for applications from students to join the regional council. And that happened in February. That has already happened in February, and they've already been oriented. And moving on to the next one, which is capacity building on leadership and teamwork. So this is still ongoing. We're planning on doing it this month. And well, we wanted to make sure that our members are equipped with the basic leadership skills, because some of these people they're joining the committee for the first time, and it's their first time in a leadership experience. It can be overwhelming sometimes. So we just wanted to make sure that we are actually giving them the space and the equipment and the right tools for them to be comfortable with their post and to be able to do very well and perform better. So moving on to the next one, which is capacity building on sponsorship and grant applications and so forth. So this one is open to all members in the region. We wanted to make sure that when we're doing whatever it is that we're doing, funds can be a little straining. So whether you're applying for sponsorship for an event, whether it's in public health or anywhere you go, you will want to apply for sponsorship. So it is like something very basic if you're in an office, or even if as an individual you want to have your own personal project, or you have a research or an experiment to carry out, you need to be able to write a very good and convincing application, sponsorship application or grant application. So those are useful financial skills that can help you in any place you might find yourself inside while you're still in medical school, or even after medical school. There's still useful skills for you to have, even the leadership and teamwork skills, because even in our career, we're going to be working as teams. So you will need to learn how to moderate and behave and actually deal with group dynamics and team dynamics. So that's moving on to the next one. We are going to be launching our online diary for the Southern Africa region on our social media pages. So this showcases different medical schools that are in the region, and some of the little tiny details like where do you eat. So we'll be having like an introduction to that person and their role within the school, where they eat after shift, where you get the best food if you're in town there, where you're going to get. They're also going to be dealing with the health problems that they face in their community that surrounds their university, or even the communities around them. So they will be showcasing that, and even what they have done to better that situation, and what it is if they want help, what it is that they need to improve the situation. For example, if they are in a malaria infested community, they can actually tell us what they did in terms of treatment or prevention or education, in the community. So it'll be going on in our social media pages, and we're hoping to be able to launch it in May. And it also promotes Famsa image in the region. And then the next activity we intend to focus on will be capacity building and leadership and teamwork. Okay, it's a second one again. So we're going to have it in two sessions. So we had the earlier one that I talked about before, that's going to be happening in March, and then we're going to have a second one later on in June. And we're going to also have community outreaches. So these ones are they're like grassroots based community, physical community outreaches that will be carried out by our local officers in their various communities. They'll be doing diabetes screening and diabetic education in their communities. So we'll help them plan these things where we can, but these are things that will be mostly carried out by our local officers on the ground, because they need to be able to interact with the communities face to face, and we hope that we'll be having partners along for these activities, because diabetes is one of the major issues that we're dealing with in public health at the moment worldwide. Yes. Then we're going to have the regional meeting and convention, which is in August. The theme is still to be announced. We just pinned the dates down in August. Even the theme and the venue are yet to be finalized, but we are coming up with a few countries, and we'll communicate that. So this is like a meeting for all the countries that are in the region. That's like Zimbabwe, Malawi, Zambia, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, all those countries coming together at one meeting. And it will be more than just professional exchange and learning, whether it's medical entrepreneurship or it's something that we're actually dealing with as a region. It will also be a cultural experience where we get to share and just enjoy being around people who are different from you. We have different cultures, and we'll actually speak a different language from you. So it will be so much fun, and it will be, yes, we're still finalizing the venues. And then awards and recognitions, these are given to our most performing officers who have been working forward to promote FAMSA activities, who are doing the absolute best under FAMSA in their communities, whether it's outreach, it's advocacy. People were very active and very vocal about the work that they're doing. We're going to be giving them awards every quarterly, which is after every 3 months. So we'll do that, the certificates and will be printed out, and we'll communicate as to how we're going to be doing the awards when the time comes. And then we'll have a meeting with the MSA presidents that we work with. This meeting will help us evaluate the relations that we have as the FAMSA and the people that we're working with in the different countries that we have. So we'll do this with the vice regional coordinators, and we'll sit down and discuss what it is that if they have any issues or if they want to improve on certain aspects, and then we'll just put that into our recommendations and pass it on to the EC. And we hope that we actually reach out to most MSs in the region who will be able to join us for these meetings, where we'll be able to discuss how we can move forward with the working relationship. Yes. Yeah, that would be all. Thank you very much for your time. Back to you, Ms. Patience.
Thank you for that presentation, Ms. Chidosunga. If any member on the call has a question for Ms. Sunga, you can send it in using the Q&A feature. We are waiting on your questions, dear members. As we wait, an attendee asked when and where the FAMSA GA will be. I see Ms. Juliet answered, but just to re-echo the answer, the FAMSA GA will be held in the Gambia at a date that will be communicated soon in November. Thank you. And it seems like there are no other questions. Yeah, in that. Oh. Okay, yeah, there are no other questions. So we'll move on to the presentation from Ms. Osman. Ms. Osman, you can go on.
Hi everyone, once again. My name is Shema Osman Suleiman. I'm serving this term as the regional coordinator for North Africa. Nice to meet you all, guys. For Famsa North Africa Regional Council containing medical student association in country in the North Africa region, namely Sudan, Iraq, Tunisia, Egypt, Morocco, Libya, Western Sahara, Mauritania, and Maghreb. This carry out health service and research, organizing health awareness program, and educating the public on matters related to their health. And then we discuss the annual work plan. Next, please. Okay. First of all, we start with the orientation session that held on the last month. We discussed the annual work plan and the responsibility and job description for each member in the regional council. And then we have to do capacity building session for all Famsa member or member on the regional council, mainly focus on leadership and communication skill in period between March and May to capacitate and empower members to improve and retain the skill, knowledge, tools, and other resources need to do their jobs perfect and greater capacity to obtain better results. And then we have evidence-based medicine webinar to integrate the experience of clinical value of the patient and the best available scientific information to guide discussing about clinical management with their patient in the future as a doctor. As soon as a medical student, we have to know that skill to communicate with their patient very easily and perfect. This session will be at April for all Famsa members. So it's essential for every medical student in the field. And then we have Health Day in respective days, actually, to increase the awareness of medical student and non-medical student and every one in our community to know about malaria, blood donation, World Hepatitis Day, Mental Health Day, World AIDS Day, to be awareness of this issue, to be able to communicate and to deal with this issue in their community. Next, please. And then we have essential skills session, right? How to write a CV and communication skill that hold it in May. And for Famsa member, actually, we have to know how to write a CV because in the last forms that opening, we have some issue with this medical student. Unfortunately, you do not have, you do not know how to write a CV and send as PDF to the form. That issue we will solve it if you training and learning about the CV writing and ML. And then we have a community project and outreach, like visiting educational center and health project, like a World Day, like awareness days for any issue that focus on. This will be in June for all medical students or Famsa members. And then we have North Africa Regional Council meeting that be in the last of the term to discuss the annual workshop, work plan, sorry, and what will happen and what is things that achieve and that not achieve. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Osman, for your presentation. If anyone has questions concerning the presentation that we've just had, you can please go on and use the Q&A feature to send them in so they can be answered. All right, no questions have been sent in, so we'll assume that you all understood. Yeah. Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Osman. So we'll go on to our next presentation, which will be from the Regional Coordinator West Africa, and that is Ms. Juliet Adebesin Oluwabusola. Ms. Juliet, you can go on and present.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Pasha. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope I am audible. Okay, I'll keep that over, yeah. So, like she mentioned, my name is Adebesin Oluwabusola, and I'm the Regional Coordinator for West Africa. And as we all know, West Africa is home to the largest number of MSAs in Africa. So basically, we are tasked with publicizing and making sure the Famsa activities is carried out in the region of West Africa, and Famsa is well known in West Africa. Next, please. All right. So first on our agenda, like the project for the year, as we all know, when you come into office, the first thing to do is to orient people, the newly appointed executives in the office of council members. So we put out a call, we interviewed, and the selected people were oriented on the roles, the responsibilities, and how to actually manage and cope in the office during your tenure. And this was done by the our predecessors in the past. The next, what we plan on doing is the bi-weekly articles, which we started with the International Women's Day. It's not just an article on public health, but also on different things like maybe social, mental health, and the like the aspects of society. And also, we plan on putting out clinical quizzes, both clinical, preclinical, and biomedical quizzes that could help to pass people's brains, because as students, we hardly go back to our books if we don't have an exam coming for us. But if you see a quiz, you might just juggle your memory or juggle your brain. So, let me just read more about this and the like. So we plan to just help ourselves, equip ourselves, and help us think further. So this will be done throughout the tenure. And it's supposed to be all Famsa members that supposed to take part in this activity. Then the next is the fundraising activities. This fundraising activities is something that would be done throughout the tenure, and it's for us to source for funds and resources in order for us to carry out our activities and also promote Famsa out there. And this will be done mostly by us, we the students, because we need to learn how to make money for ourselves and not just be begging people for money. So we would do this by we'll be doing some workshops on capacity building, and this will be specified workshops on capacity building that will be done by experienced people and professionals that will help us to equip us with the knowledge we need and skills we need in various aspects. And this would maybe a small token will be required from students, and this is the way we can also make funds for ourselves. Next, please. Yes, so the next is the Famsa awareness, which is something that has been done from the beginning of the tenure and will be done all throughout the tenure. It's a way of just making sure Famsa is known across West Africa and Africa as a whole. In fact, around the world, because many people do not tend to be interested in anything Africa. We're all chasing international things and we neglect ourselves here in Africa. So we have to put ourselves out there, because if we don't do that, nobody else will do that for us. So it's the timeline is throughout the tenure, not just in March, but throughout the tenure. It started in March 4th, but it's going to be done throughout the tenure. The next is a capacity building session. This is going to be capacity building on like finance, research, and entrepreneurship, and also basic skills that we need to know, how to write an application, things that are important for our well-being, not just as medical students, but also outside medical school, whatever aspect of life we find ourselves. And this will just be done in June, but we'll be doing it throughout the tenure anytime. It could be every 3 months or every 4 months, but it would be done throughout the tenure. And lastly, we have the regional council meeting, which the date is yet to be announced, but it's going to be in either July or August, but the date will be announced as soon as possible. So it's a time for students across the region in West Africa to actually come together. We learn, we share our ideas, and it's just something that will be a beautiful time. This year is going to be virtual, considering the fact that we want everybody to attend as much as possible, not just the limit, because we would also have a GA, which we want everybody to be present physically. So this will be virtual, so everybody can attend wherever you are in the world. You can still attend this regional council meeting and share with us what you have to share with us. So yes, and we're also going to be recognizing MSA officers from various MSAs that are actively working. This will be done monthly. We recognize the MSA officers and the MSAs they belong to on our social media pages, and also award them with awards for their good work and encourage people to actually, work hard and try as much as possible to build themselves and also build themselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Juliet, for your presentation. If anyone on the call has any questions for Ms. Juliet, you can please send them in using the Q&A feature. All right, so no questions have been sent in. I'm guessing everyone has understood clearly the work plan and they're excited and willing to work with you, Ms. Juliet. Okay. We're going to move on to our next presentation, which is going to be from Mr. Fodop Samuel, who is the Regional Coordinator for Central Africa. Mr. Samuel, you can go on.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Am I audible, please?
Yes, you are. You can go on.
Okay, thank you so much. I am Fodop Samuel, the Regional Coordinator for Central Africa, and I am a student at the Catholic University of Cameroon, Catholic MSc. So the Famsa Central Africa Regional Council comprises of medical students associations from 7 countries, namely the Democratic Republic of Congo, Congo-Brazzaville, Chad, Central African Republic, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Sao Tome and Principe, and Cameroon. They are responsible for coordinating and guiding the activities of medical students in all medical students associations within the region. Next slide, please. So for this tenure, we have a plan and it goes as follows. We thought monthly medical education series, webinars we intend to organize on a monthly basis to educate students on specific topics, being it leadership, advocacy, research, and many other topics. For this month, I use the opportunity to tell you about the activity we are planning for this month. We are working on a webinar with the theme, the role of medical students in the improvement of healthcare in Africa. So I invite you all to stay tuned, and within the next week, you shall be aware of when the webinar will be taking place and who will be the speakers. So we also thought of research, webinars on research, because given that research is a very important aspect of medicine, research is the base of innovation and many other things. So we also thought of bringing research opportunities for students within the Central Africa region, as well as physical and online trainings, being it emergency medicine, capacity building, CV writing, and many other important topics for medical students and aspiring healthcare workers. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, another important activity we thought of is professional exchanges. Central Africa is mainly a French-speaking region. Therefore, it would be very beneficial for students within this French-speaking region to go gain some experience in the English-speaking regions, for example, Nigeria, or let's say West Africa, with countries like Nigeria, Kenya, the Gambia, Ghana, and other English-speaking countries. This would, by the way, foster unity among students from various countries and reinforce the Pan-African spirit of Famsa. So capacity building for medical students, ranging from civil writing, policy statement writing, grant writing, right up to sponsorship demands. We also thought of community outreaches. That's after gaining all the skills we may gain from this tenure. It would be good and beneficial for our communities that we give back to them by carrying out community outreaches and other projects which could be beneficial to the community. For example, through a training on first aid for the general public, that would be very beneficial. Right? With a team like everyone can save a life. It's not only the outcome of an emergency also depends on the care given to the person at the onset of the emergency. When someone is bleeding, you shouldn't always wait for the medical team to come. At least the general public should have an idea of what to do. Or when someone has a stroke or a myocardial infarction, the general public should have a clue of what to do. So that would be the intention of some of these community outreaches. And finally, to conclude the theme here, we would organize a scientific conference. The theme is still to be announced, but the tentative date is going to be October. So stay tuned and we will keep you all informed. And I invite you all to stay tuned concerning our upcoming webinar with the theme, the role of medical students in the improvement of healthcare in Africa. It's going to be before the end of this month. Thank you so much for your keen attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fudok, for your submission, for your presentation. If there are any questions for the presentation that Mr. Fudok has just given us, you can go on and send them in through the Q&A feature. Okay, no questions have been sent in as in regards to the presentation that we've just had. We'll go on to our next presentation, which is from the Vice President for Famsa, that is Mr. Babatunde Abdul Hamid. Mr. Babatunde, you can go on.
Before you goes on, sorry, before you goes on, we have a question. Someone raised up his hand.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. Could the person that raised their hand please raise it again? Because I can't seem to find the participant that wanted to ask.
Sorry, someone's hand is up.
Oh, okay. Mr. Samuel Onichukwu, you can go on.
Please, I said we asked our names to our MSC and then our first and second name, but I can't see where to change it here. Hello?
Yes, we were able to hear your question, Mr. Samuel. Thank you. Mr. Davis, would you please clarify for Mr. Samuel on how to, and other members on the call, on how to rename their devices?
Okay, thank you. I think it was supposed to be pre-communicated before you joined in. Since it's a webinar entity, you won't be able to rename yourself in the meeting. So apologies. I think you can, if at all you can rejoin it with your changed name or rename name. But if it's not, if it's difficult, you can stay in with your name. It's okay, no problem.
Thank you for the clarification. Thank you for your question, Mr. Samuel. Thank you for the clarification, Mr. President. So we're going to go into our next presentation, which is from the Vice President of Famsa. That is Mr. Babatunde Abdul Hamid. Mr. Babatunde, you can go on.
Hello, please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good evening. My name is Abdul Hamid Babatunde, and I'll be going through my presentation briefly. So as a Vice President, my responsibility is to coordinate technical working groups, monitor and evaluate the Famsa EC members, and oversee the organization of the Famsa General Assembly as the representative of the Executive Council. So next slide. So before now, I've been able to interact with all the EC members informally to know about their plans and to give recommendations, and also meet the local organizing committee for the General Assembly in Gambia. And then I've also been able to set up the call for technical working groups, and the technical working groups for HIV and AIDS is already completed, and the technical working group for COVID-19 will be completed by this week. So other things that we'll be doing now is that based on my role as the monitor and evaluation head, we'll be having M&E members from each standing committees and regional coordinators and technical working groups to form a team, and we'll be doing that before the end of this week also. Then in partnership, we'll be developing a document that has a list of potential partners for each of the standing committees and regional coordinators, and try to get a contact for each of those. And then development of the rubric that we'll be using to create EC members, and we're sending this for the EC for approval. Next slide. So then in March also we'll be completing, like I said, the technical working groups plan will be taken for HIV/AIDS before the end of this, by the next EC meeting. Then monthly recognition of outstanding members, we'll be doing this in the first week of the subsequent month. So we'll be doing for April to the end of the tenure in November. And then for each EC, we'll be giving EC member of the month and then FAMSA team of the month, which will be a standing committee, regional coordinator, technical working group, based on the grading scale I'll come up with. And then we'll be having in-house capacity building for EC members, the executive members, so as to make sure we improve our professionalism and leadership and become a better leader after the service as FAMSA executive member. Next slide. So, and then we'll be having interaction with the local organizing committee. We'll be able to organize a mentorship programs whereby we invited past members of organizing committees from the last last 5 general assemblies, and they will be able to do that. And then we also have meetings. We communicate every time on WhatsApp, but we have a normal meeting every 2 weeks to get the updates on the plan. And then I'm very sure we have a good GA this year. And then after that, when the GA comes, I'll be overseeing like transportation of people, registration with other local organizing committee of the General Assembly. So basically, that's a summary of my plans. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Babatunde, for your presentation. So if any member on our call has a question regarding the presentation that we've just had, you can please go on and send it in through the Q&A feature. Yeah, so we have a question from Mr. Mbasela. He says, it's Timothy from My Name is in Zambia. He's happy with the presentation from Central, and he is asking about how he can join him and his MSA. He was asking, he wasn't sure about if his MSA is part of Famsa. Yeah, and he's asking if, to know how he can join and benefit from the programs that were presented in the presentation from Mr. Samuel. So, Mr. Samuel, you can go on and answer this question.
Okay, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
So I'm going to share the link to the WhatsApp group with the person so that they can join and stay updated of all the upcoming activities.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. I saw a hand that was raised by a participant, but I can't find it anymore. If you still have your question, you can please go on and raise your hand again.
Madam Moderator.
Yes.
Maybe as a wait for the question to be occurred, I would like to supplement on Mr. Samuel's comment. In case Mr. or Miss Basela is not sure whether his MSA is in Famsa, please, I'm going to send you a link and you share it to the MSA president. When he share, so that he'll be contacted over upcoming activities, and within our MSA president's convention, he will be able to interact as well as get to know how to expose his MSA as well as how to join Famsa. So I'm going to type it in the chat together with the accompanying it with the chat that has been shared. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Banchache. Yeah, I don't see any other questions. So since there are no other questions, that was our last presentation for today. Thank you all for listening in and for sparing some time to be part of this session. So next up, we'll have closing remarks from the Vice President. Mr. Banchache, your hand is still up. Do you have anything else? Oh, okay. Okay, so next we'll have our closing remarks from the Vice President. Thank you. You can go on.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Patience and Mr. Lawal for coordinating this program. I'm sure we've been able to set a new standard and try to be more accountable to medical students across Africa by ensuring that we present the reports, the action plan for the year, and whet the appetite for the programs that we have in plan, and hopefully to get more participation of the program. Thank you very much to everyone who has joined from beginning to the end, and we'll try to provide a link to the recording and the recording and the presentation after the meeting through the Famsa newsletter, and the presenters and the EC members to undergo presentations, and I hope we are able to achieve all the plans and even more. Yeah, thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice President. I guess that brings our session to a close. Thank you all that have joined in, and I hope the presentations have been helpful and you'll be participating more in the activities that are coming up. Thank you.